We are not traditional leaders. We are royalty. There's a difference, a huge difference between traditional leaders and royalty. So I think that's one of the contexts that were misinterpreted.
The fifth faction that is not good for the country are the monarchist types. They see South Africa as a configuration of kingdoms that need to separate again. These people do not really mean it. What they actually want is to fracture the nation and break the ANC. The main figure in this group in South Africa today is the man that just won't do us all a favor and go away. A man called Jacob Zuma, who is a veteran South African politician who served as the fourth president of South Africa from 2009 to 2018, God-forsaken years, a central figure in the anti-apartheid struggle. His career has been defined by his rise through the African National Congress, a tumultuous presidency, and his recent emergence as the leader of the new Umkhonto weSizwe. As we all know in South Africa, if Jacob Zuma is involved, of course it's a terrible idea, and a lie, and a scam, and a non-truth. Much like the globalists, the separatists, the socialists, and the revolutionaries, is a very bad idea for the country. Jacob Zuma is not even really serious about it. He's merely using this call to get the kings and the queens behind him so they can bring the people they rule to build up his voting numbers and take away from the ANC, putting pressure on the ANC so that they can let him back in somehow as an ANC partner, a partnership between the MK and the ANC or something like that. Much like the globalists, the separatists, the socialists, and the revolutionaries, he does not care what will happen to the citizens if the kingdoms begin to revolt against Pretoria. This is what the separatists also want. People like Willem Petzer, Phil Craig, even Ernst Roets also would like to see something like the monarchists are advocating for. That's why they always say things like the Zulus and others should get their own kingdoms, because the separatist wants a piece of this country too. The thing that they don't say, which is quite obvious, is that the Zulus and the other kingdoms already have pieces of this country, already have their own kingdoms, as they've had for centuries already. The monarchist view is short-sighted and a lack of historical insight, just like with the other factions. For if these kingdoms begin revolting, there's no telling where such a thing goes or where it ends, if it even ends. Jacob Zuma, of course, does not care about that. He just wants to stick it to Ramaphosa and the ANC, and he might be long dead by the time the true troubles come. He doesn't care if the nation is destroyed, neither does the globalist, the separatist, the socialist, or the revolutionaries. These are flawed, lazy thinkers, the lot of them. Why the monarchists exist? It's just a method for a faction who want power to try and gain it, that's all. All five of these factions are actually like that and have many similarities and overlaps in their goals and in their tactics. The monarchists exist because it is just another tactic and point of division that can be used to generate or gather people, power, and votes.
South Africa is a movie.
They really are talking to the issues, the fundamental issues of what MK is all about.
They must fail, mainly because JZ is involved in it. And if he is involved, it must fail and be opposed because it is a bad idea for the country and for the population. Apart from that, it must fail because it is yet another unnecessary bad idea, lacking all historical context, that will only lead to serious disruption, bloodshed, tears, and will destroy the country. The kingdoms are well placed within the system as they are. If anything were to change in this regard, it must be to the benefit of South Africans, in that the kingdoms should be using the funding they get to build institutions that preserve their languages, culture, and develop their people in business, in the arts, while taking care of the family by building healthy families with lots of children. I don't see why the kingdoms could not build their own schools and educate their children. One has to ask, are they working with the ANC all these years to ruin the education system? The monarchists are just power-grubbing, money-hungry politicians by another name. They too must fail. The globalists, the separatists, the socialists, the revolutionaries, and the monarchists are working very bad ideas that will eventually, if not nipped in the bud, will bring more turmoil, bloodshed, and destruction to South Africa. This is what all these ideas eventually lead to all throughout history, because they are bad ideas that misunderstand human societies and in fact are just unnecessary and a waste of time. Hence, they must fail. They bring only death and economic turmoil for the population, not the leaders thereof. They must fail.
Thank you for listening. If you dare, buy us a coffee. The link is in the description.
Why are you running? Why are you running? Why are you running? Why are you running?